Hello there, and welcome to my channel for those two people that are regular. And today we're going to be talking about handbrakes. I'm pretty sure most of you that click on this video have searched for ways to add a handbrake to your sim racing setup for a decently priced fee, you know. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen videos of people wiring up eBay hydraulic handbrakes, like for real cars, to like Arduino boards with analog sensors and things like that. So I was planning to do that myself, but I just didn't really have time for it, and I didn't really want to really. So I started to notice that some people in Aliexpress already sold that thing done. So I bought one pre-made USB hydraulic handbrake. I got this partly because it was decently priced, and partly because it was a style of handbrake that I haven't really seen before. It was black, very like, it looks pretty low-key, I'd say, very standard, very like something like Fanatec would have back in the day. I don't really know if they still sell handbrakes, but I know they are pretty pricey right now. So this was like 44 euros, 45 if I remember correctly, and you can get some of them cheaper and more expensive, but this particularly style of handbrake I only found around that 50 euro range. So I'm guessing like that would be 50 something, $60 at the most. That's what I would pay for this thing. And one of the big things that attracted to me is this already installed clamp, which we're gonna be talking about the already installed part in a bit, because this didn't really came the best way it could from factory. And yeah, my setup is just a wheel stand that goes into under my desk, and there is no space to clamp this on, so I just clamp it onto the table. So yeah, it was pretty appealing in that regard. It's safe to say that coming from China at this very cheap price, it would have some problems with it. And I mean, it came in this box, so yeah, that should be indicative of it. And I have some footage here showing that the packaging wasn't really the best thing. It had like holes that the screws on the handbrake were causing the package to rip pretty much. And when it arrived at my home, it was actually like almost tearing up. It was open, so it was a bit exposed to the outside. The product was fine. I unboxed it and it was decent. It came whole at least, so I mean, I knew the risk of it, so I don't really have much to complain. But just a cardboard box and a bit of bubble wrap isn't really the ideal thing for this kind of stuff. But anyway, talking to the build, it was a bit loose. All the screws were I mean, even now it's not really fully sturdy. But there was this thing in the clamp that actually, because of the chip was connected directly to the bottom of the handbrake with a bracket. The screw that connects to the clamp is actually going through that jumper, so it's not it's the same length as the other side. So because of this washer thing, this board thing that it goes through, it doesn't really go all the way through the board. So it was a bit loose, but it was fine. I just unplugged the board, grabbed an Allen key that I had for my setup, which it was the same size for some reason, and I just like tightened it up and it was okay. But if you're buying this, expect to have some work on it, because you know, it's 40 euros, it comes from China, the packaging has to look like it's 20, I don't know, it's a whole thing, but it's fixable, it's doable, and it came out alright. So once when it was all tightened up and set up on the table, I started to notice that the clamp was not really that secure, and you can see the clamps are not very straight with each other. I'm gonna put some video on it showing it, but they are like curved. They're not the best well made, and they're the same piece, so they're kind of both inclined to the same side, so they're not symmetrical in that way, in that regard, and I don't know if that will help anything. But yes, well, it fits, it grabs into the table, it works, but it's not the most stable of things. It wiggles a lot, and the bottom part of the clamp, it's metal, you know, the thing that turns, it's actually bare metal, unlike other products like the Trustmaster TH8A, which had a clamp that had rubber on both sides, which I think would be very beneficial for this one. So, I mean, to not break my desk, I put just a bit of paper on top of that when clamping it up. It may not help with the grip, but it softens up the pressure that is being put into the desk, and it doesn't damage it. And yeah, speaking of clamping it to the desk, I noticed that there was, in the rubber pad used in the clamp, in the upper part of the clamp, it started leaving a residue on the table when removing it. It's not really, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's really easy to clean. It's just like some dust, I'm guessing. I don't know. It's something to consider. I mean, if you're fixing this permanently in somewhere, I don't think it really matters. But if you're gonna be removing this with a clamp, maybe just I tried to clean it out, but it seems to keep leaving that residue. I mean, it's starting to soften up as the more times I swap it off the desk. But yeah, it's kind of weird because I cleaned it up with water. Maybe I should have used something stronger. I don't know, it's just pretty weird. And speaking of mounting, I'm pretty sure most sim racings, especially the experienced ones in the DIY community, probably will find a way to attach this to their setup without a clamp, which would be the ideal option, and that would make this perfect. But for the more casual player, the clamp, if you can replace it, I recommend you do, but it's doable, it works. Although in my desk it doesn't have that much grip, so I mean, this will vary from the texture to texture, I'm guessing, but it does a trick. It works, nothing to add there. So as you can see, when we plug this thing to the computer, it already detects it as a handbrake, and it's really just plug and play. There's no drama to it. Just put it and there you go. You have a new axis that you can map into your games as a handbrake. So yeah, pretty straightforward. So it just works.
rasante recta 30, rasante y no atajes 3 derecha larga, se cierra, para 3 izquierda sobre rasante larga, se cierra, 30, 3 derecha larga, se cierra sobre rasante 30, no atajes, horquilla abierta izquierda, se abre, sigue al centro sobre rasante, para 6 izquierda, para 2 derecha larga,
so
se
overall,
cierra.
I think it's a very good buy, especially for more casual players. I mean, and even I dare to say that it's an all-round good handbrake, even for the more experienced players. Obviously, if you're going to be more serious about this, I'd recommend you mount this thing to a good setup instead of just clamping it down somewhere. But I mean, it does the job, and it can be mounted also horizontally if you know how to do it. So yeah, it's pretty good for the price I paid. I'm happy with it, so I recommend it. But I mean, obviously your mileage is going to vary from what I got. I mean, you know how this is with Chinese products. So yeah, thanks for watching.